The days are longer, the calendar is filling up, and I want to feel as good as this beautiful summer weather. That's why I've been loving Groons. It's one daily pack of gummies that covers my greens, vitamins, and minerals, and even has 6 grams of prebiotic fiber, so I don't need to juggle a complicated wellness routine on top of everything else. They taste amazing. They're easy to toss in my bag on the go. Plus, they're vegan, gluten-free, and HSA, FSA eligible for reimbursement. Save up to 52% off with promo code podcast at gruns.co. That's code podcast at gruns.co.
Security threats are everywhere. But with Xfinity XFi, you're notified of threats to your in-home Wi-Fi network, so all your connected devices are protected. That's simple, easy, awesome. Switch to Xfinity today and get a great offer. You'll get fast speeds and the best in-home Wi-Fi experience with Xfinity XFi. Plus, ask about enhanced security for safer browsing and more. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store to switch today. Restrictions apply.
Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network. You can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Welcome to Dulono's Pizza on a very cold Monday night. I thought we'd show up and there'd be nobody here, and you all came out. We do appreciate it. I know you can't get enough Russo, no matter what the weather's like. Everything's shutting down, and people still show up at Dulono's Pizza. From Michael Russo, this is the Russo-Souhan Show, part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod for live show times. We're tentatively going to do our next 2 live shows here at Dulono's on February 6th and 18th amid our travels. And please, if you'd like to advertise with us on this program or the network, February 6th and 18th.
Yep.
Michael never listens to me the first time.
I thought you said the 10th for some reason.
No, I did not say that. And if you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Twill in the Dining Galleria, Delano's Pizza, Fixologyrepair.com, and your State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund in Champlin. Michael, let's start here. You and I both moved here from warm weather climates.
Yeah.
You moved here from Florida. I moved here from Dallas. When you have a day like this, what goes through your mind?
Well, I'm looking at my car right now. It's already covered with like ice and snow, so I'm wondering which like lucky person that came to the podcast is going to get paid to clean that off for me.
And what are you paying?
I don't know. All I know is I'm not going to do it. I thought I forgot. I forgot pretty much. I forgot gloves. I forgot everything. So I mean,
you went out in 0-degree weather, no gloves.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Johnny Connor will do it.
I think our latest Russo injury story will be about frostbite. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
You really came out with no gloves.
Hey, did you guys see Danny Hendrickson on Instagram the other day?
I did.
Looked like he had the beginning of frostbite on his ear. He was playing in the pond hockey at Lake Nokomis and didn't have any ear protection, and it instantly. Somebody luckily noticed he didn't feel it, and somebody noticed right away, and it was gruesome looking.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's not funny.
Yeah, no.
Do you see that?
Bring it up.
Well, I mean, seriously, but in this state, now that you've been living here for a long time and you know so many hockey people, do you see that very often? Do you see?
I've never seen that.
Kids, because I always wonder about kids who just, kids will go play outside and not even think about it.
Well, that's why all the schools are closed this week, right? Because they don't want them all of a sudden sitting at the bus stop and minus 25-degree weather, and all of a sudden, that would be unfortunate.
That would be.
Yeah.
So let's start with some.
Yeah, why did we move here?
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, good point. It's a really good point. I don't know. I got off the plane yesterday, and that was cold, and I had just come back from Breckenridge, So, I mean, we're talking, it was, probably 20 degrees, it felt 20 degrees cooler here. And then these next couple days are going to be absolutely awful. I'm flying to Atlanta tomorrow, and they're supposed to get snow and in kind of like a little ice storm tomorrow morning. And I was there 5 years ago during the ice storm that shut down the entire city. So I'm a little concerned that I'm going to get in, and if I don't,
and I'm flying
pretty much you guys are going to have to deal with my mother.
I'm dealing. Oh, we're going to talk about your mother.
Yeah.
I'm flying to Atlanta for the Super Bowl Wednesday, and I'm just hoping the plane gets off the ground.
Yeah. Oh, that's we should hang out while I'm in Atlanta.
We should.
Yeah,
absolutely.
we should do a podcast there. Actually, I'm leaving Thursday, so.
Okay, well then I guess we're not going to. But it's a good idea.
You know what though? My mother's coming off shoulder surgery, and you guys have a rapport.
We do.
Maybe you stay there, save the Strib a little money.
Well, that sounds great. Does she give out Marriott points?
We'll figure it out.
So is your mother mad at you?
Yes.
Tell us why.
She said to me, well, because I haven't been there yet since she had shoulder surgery. Didn't help that I was in Costa Rica and Breckenridge.
And Vegas.
Yeah. She always said to me, I always knew that if I was going to live, it would have to be Adam taking care of me. I thought that was a little mean. So,
pretty accurate, though.
Yeah. So...
I mean, the fact that you have trouble taking care of yourself, I don't think any other human being should depend on you.
Yeah. Is it snowing out like right now, or is just my car just froze for no reason?
No, I think it's snowing.
Okay.
You ever regret moving to Minnesota?
No, definitely not.
What else can I ask you that's going to make you feel really awkward and uncomfortable?
No, I really have never regretted moving to Minnesota.
I haven't either.
The alternative of living here is having to live in South Florida. And I'm not even kidding. I would hate that.
South Florida's just a weird state.
I would never want to move back.
It's just a strange state.
Yeah.
The thing about it being cold here is I just don't go outside much when
Yeah.
it's cold. So it doesn't bother me. The only being I really feel sorry for when it's this cold is my dog.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you one of the parents that put the little things on the paws of the dog and make it feel inferior?
I don't. Is my dog is smart enough not to want to stay out very long, so we just go out and we come right back in. It's the dogs that who just are kind of goofy and don't sense the cold.
Yeah.
You actually do have to put them on their paws just so they don't hurt themselves.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or get salt in between their paws.
Chad Graff sent me a video of him of his poor dog Zoe.
Yeah.
With the shoes.
Yes.
Dog was not pleased.
No.
But it was very funny watching the dog walk around his apartment. It was not happy.
We will get some hockey talk now. We want to remind you we're at Dulono's Pizza, downtown Minneapolis. They also have a spot in Woodbury. The place we are at right now, 118 North 4th Street, right by Ramp C. Parking lot adjacent, parking on the street adjacent. It's really easy to get to. It's easy to park. It's walking distance to the sporting venues and the music venues. 612-767-9494 if you want to order pizza, or you can go to DeLanosPizza.com. Great pizza, big screen TVs, full bar, craft beers, lots of space, comfortable. I eat here all the time. My wife loves it here. Definitely
heater.
Check it out. Working heater. Lunch specials open till, I think, 3 a.m. Open to 3 a.m. Just a great place to hang out before or after events or anytime at all. Check out DeLanosPizza.com. So what does it mean to you that this team plays well against good teams and doesn't play well against bad teams?
I don't know, because I don't even want to use the old, they don't. It's like that, that they are emotionally invested in some games and not in the others. One thing I will say is Detroit, who is beating everybody right now. I mean, they really are. So I still look at that as a game that it was so easily understandable why they lost that game. No fan wants to hear excuses, but they're coming back after that long road trip, and they had a crazy schedule, but it was Winnipeg to start off. So Winnipeg is their hated rival, so they show up hard against that game, and then the fatigue hits in next game. The fatigue was going to hit in at some point. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But the Philadelphia game was just an odd game to begin with. They gave up like 2 or 3 shots in a 23-minute span at one point, and they went in. So that was just a strange game. They might even win that game if Parisi doesn't make that bad play at the end of the second period. And they, that night they just were weak in enough areas that made it look like it was just them laying an egg, like kind of like the Detroit game, which I just think that you look back at that game and it was just a bizarre one. So What's good now is that they played really well the other night in Colorado. I thought they played great in Vegas, and they're doing it with a lineup that right now has one ineffective line. I mean, that Zach Parise line right now, I mean, he's probably tearing his hair out. So I think that they've got to figure out a way now to get right back on the horse, so to speak, here after the break, and it won't be easy. They come back on Friday. They got to practice here, get on a plane. They land at a weird time in Dallas, and then they got to play the first of 2 back-to-backs. And it's just, again, and that's the first 2 of 14 and 26 games. And you look at the amount. I mean, again, it's like the league has this rule now that they're going to have these buys either before or after the All-Star break. Well, the teams that get it before get days off to get back in the swing of things. The teams that are after the fact are supposed to start off equally, and Dallas comes back and they already have a game played. I mean, it's just, and then you ask the question in the league and they don't even respond on how this is even possible, that they're breaking their own rules. And so, the Wild have the right to be absolutely furious with the schedule that they got coming up, to play back-to-back without the benefit of being able to travel like a normal thing, and your back-to-back is at Dallas, home against Minnesota, which this NHL schedule maker just apparently doesn't know where those 2 places are. It's insane. And then again, so they're going to really have to, after those back-to-backs, take advantage of some practice time Sunday and Monday before their schedule gets really, really condensed.
When I was a baseball beat writer, I was always trying to figure out why the Twins had such weird schedules. Mm-hmm. And they said they could veto, 1 or 2 schedules, but then eventually it just was a computer algorithm that was going to determine things.
Well, the league doesn't even have a computer algorithm. I mean, he helped computer, but I mean, the NHL schedule maker, I will say, has probably the hardest job. I mean, first, I can only imagine what his office looks like. He's got to deal with all sorts of crazy things with it now, with the amount of TV that all these teams get, the amount of home schedules that they want, traditional games that all these teams want, and he's got to do that times 31. So I get it. Everybody feels at times during the year their schedule gets absolutely screwed. Usually the way it works is that teams could change up to 2 dates, but you're dealing with all sorts of issues. I mean, March is not an easy schedule for the Minnesota Wild ever because of the amount of times that the XL Energy Center is used. So he's got to deal with building availability. You've got to deal with, all these networks now wanting to have a certain amount of types of games on their telecast. You have the outdoor schedule. You throw in the buys and the All-Star break that are in the same amount of days as a normal NHL season. It's definitely not an easy job. I'm not trying to take away from that, but there has to be sense too, and player safety should come into part of that, and that's just reality. I mean, again, there's that one game coming up in early March where the Wild play in Calgary and then home the next night, and the starting times are like 21 and a half hours apart. I mean, that's absolutely unacceptable, and yet somehow. I don't know if the schedule was done before Paul Fenton got the job, but somehow somebody on the Wild was not able to get that changed, and it's just wrong. And I do think the home game is on NBC Sports Network, so there again is the league allowing the network to dictate.
And of course they are. That's the way modern sports work.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same reason why the Wild will probably never ever have the Winter Classic or be an opponent in the Winter Classic. I mean, I was told 3 weeks ago the Wild had no shot of being the Winter Classic opponent for Dallas, and it's because NBC is the one that's poo-pooing it. And there's just nothing the league could do there. So,
I have more questions for you. We will also open it up for live questions. The microphone's right here. Just come on right over by Michael and stare him in the eye and ask him the tough questions. Do want to thank Twill in the Edina Galleria, TWILL. TWILLMN.com is the website, and Twill on Instagram is the place you can find beautiful pictures of all their clothing. They have great winter stuff right now, but they also are transitioning to spring stuff, golf stuff, gift stuff. There are oddities. There's travel things. Check it out. Twill in the Edina Galleria. Stop by and visit their very friendly staff.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
So the Pro Bowl is this weekend. You got the NHL All-Star Game. Where do you rank the NHL All-Star Game compared to the other pro sports All-Star Games?
That's a great question. I think that the 3-on-3 at the first year was exciting that they were changing it, and now I just think it's not. You see great goals like that Stamkos goal the other night was awesome. Watching Dubnyk, Rob McDavid was awesome. But to me, it's like every All-Star game, it is about their sponsors. I mean, it's a corporate event. It's just it's one of those things. Big trade, by the way. Toronto has acquired Jake Muzzin from L.A.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's no Anthony Botetto, but anyway, sorry. So it's just a corporate event. It's fun when you're there as a player, but I don't know if the fans love it as much. I mean, let's put it this way: I was in Breckenridge the last couple of days. I didn't have to cover it for the Athletic because we had a bunch of people there, and I didn't watch the skills competition, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that we were at a bar during the All-Star game. And I was able to watch, and I didn't watch the first two periods, but I was able to ask the bartender to. Actually, Anthony LaPanta got the bartender's attention, and we had to take it off the Winter X Games in a bar in Breckenridge. They were not happy. There were a lot of people not happy with us, but we put on the third period, and we were at least able to watch that. But to me, it's just not exciting. The one exciting All-Star game I ever covered was, and there were actual hits in the game. It was in Dallas. Brian Ralston was there, and honestly, he's still to this day, I say, got robbed of being the MVP that game. But he had a couple goals and an assist, and it was just fun to actually cover that. In LA, it was fun for me to cover it because you had Boudreaux there, who was, it was during the whole NHL's greatest 100 players thing. So we were able to cover that. And then the Wild had Dubnyk and Suter there as well, so there were multiple players. But to me, it's just it doesn't get me as excited as maybe it once did years ago.
The amazing thing is the Pro Bowl still gets huge ratings for what it is. And I always question that, and I think back when I was a kid, and before I got into this business, I watched that kind of stuff all the time. Now I feel like the baseball All-Star Game is the only All-Star game that, to me, is really worth an investment of time because it's the only All-Star game where the defense is doing its best. Mm-hmm. And where every other All-Star game, the defense is taking it easy, trying not to get hurt. Baseball, the pitchers and the fielders want to get outs.
Yeah, and the winner hosts the World Series. Is that the rule?
Yes.
Is that the
it's stupid, and that's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
But I will say, as awkward as that rule feels, when I was covering All-Star games before that rule was invoked, people were leaving in the fourth inning or fifth inning, heading for their private jet, and they were in the air before the game was over. That was terrible for the game. Terrible for that game and terrible for the sport.
Yep.
They invoked that, and all of a sudden there's peer pressure to perform well and be part of a team. It has changed the way the game goes.
I will say, when you're hosting the event, it is a fun event.
It is.
Because they got the Fan Fest, which is absolutely fun. It's fun in the city that's there, but I think the average fan just doesn't get excited about it. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe you look at the ratings here in Minnesota, they're still technically lousy, but they were the fourth or fifth best of any market in the country. So clearly people are interested in it in hockey markets, but still the overall rating, not very good. So I don't think that it captures the imagination of hockey fans the way that the league would love. I don't know how you change that, though. It is what it is. These players aren't going to go out and hit each other. They're not going to play for all is broke and everything like that. So I don't know how you change it, but other than maybe trying something like an outdoor type of All-Star game or something like that. I mean, that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, the problem is I think the only real way to make it more of a pure competition would be to sully it, which is if you offered everybody a big bonus if they won, and nobody. And
the NHL does that. They split $1 million.
Oh,
okay.
11
players.
Has
they
that
get
worked?
about 90 something. Well, I mean, there are players that are $90-something thousand richer. That's worked that way, I guess.
Well, my question is that enough to incentivize them?
It hasn't turned them into like they're all trying to go out and bang hit each other. They want to win the game. They're competitors. The game the other night. I mean, the Central were down 3-0 before anybody really had a chance to wake up. So I don't know.
All right, what's gotten into Eric Staal?
I think that he just is out of his rut. He's playing with great line mates right now. He really loves this line. He's on with Coyle and Greenway. And I think that everybody on their current line right now is working extra hard to stay on their current line for specific reasons. And one guy's trying to overlap his shifts to play with other guys for specific reasons.
Who might that be?
Zach. I mean, there's a reason why every time Zach gets a point now, it's because he overextends his shift to get on with somebody else, and he does it the other night with Coyle and Staal, and it's because that line is just that line with Rask and Aberg has no pace. Yeah. It's just an ineffective line. So it's so obvious, and we saw it the other night against Colorado. But Stahl's a heck of a player. He looked like he went through a rut where he did midseason last year, where he looked tired. Now he's sort of out of it. He's scoring slam dunk goals, which is what you want from him, and I think it's great. Now it puts the Wild in an interesting position here, because I do think that it is very clear that Paul Fenton wants to make significant changes to this team. And Staal, if all of a sudden they're in the playoff hunt come February, come February 25th, the trade deadline, is he going to have the guts to trade him, especially if that means maybe making the team worse down the stretch but getting futures? I don't think that would fly with the owner. They want to still make the playoffs and try to go on a run, and they are. And depending again what you get back, if you trade Eric Staal and don't get centers back, you're not making yourself a better team. So right now, I think that, and I'll have a story about it this week. I talked to Eric alone after the game the other night in Denver, and he said that during this rut that he had, he was getting really down. And one reason why he's getting down is that he doesn't want to be traded. And all of a sudden, he kind of had this come to Jesus meeting in his own head where he said, you know what, I need to be the one that helps us get out of this, so I am not in a position where this team trades me in a month. And I think that from that point on, he's getting better. We think that a savvy veteran like Eric Staal doesn't lose his confidence, but there's no doubt that he says that, and it's happened a couple times this year, that his contract situation has worried him. That was the danger of not signing him. So he goes through these ruts where maybe it's in his head, but the reality is that he's going to probably be the one, and the team's going to be the one to decide, meaning his teammates are going to be the ones to decide if he stays here.
Let's go to live questions. First, I want to thank Fixology Repair. Check out fixologyrepair.com. Jewelry repair, watch and battery repair, cell phone repair, tablet and iPad repair. They just fixed 2 of my tablets recently. Apple Watch repair. We had somebody stop in, I think one of the last live shows, and say they just had dropped their phone or their watch and ran to Fixology and got it repaired in about half an hour.
I just handed them a watch.
Did you?
I did.
Which watch number 28?
No, this is
26?
One of the two ones that I accidentally bought together.
They buy gold. They do engraving. Downtown Minneapolis, not far from us in the Skyway, right across from Dunn Brothers, south of the Wells Fargo Center, and the place I go to even more often, Fixology Repair, 3rd floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom's.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
Okay, Michael.
Actually, I was asking where your cut is. I heard about it.
Yeah, it's there. Do you recall a bigger trade deadline dilemma than Kekalainen has? And who is more likely to be traded, Bob or Panarin?
I think Bob is more likely to be traded because they have the backup there. But yeah, it's they're in a tough position. So if you don't know what Johnny's talking about, is right before the show.
Johnny, if you want a hat or a shirt, feel free.
Or a phone wallet.
You like, or a phone wallet.
Take an athletic phone wallet. I want to see. You don't really have to if you don't want. You really can take a shirt or a hat. I was just kidding. My God. So the basically right before the show, Dan Milstein, the agent of Kirill Kaprizov, by the way, put out a statement that basically said they informed the Columbus Blue Jackets that Panarin's not going to re-sign before the trade deadline, and so now it's basically the ball's in their court. They're going to let this play out. They'll talk after the season, which to me, anytime that usually happens, except for Steven Stamkos, who's the one precedent setter, where all of a sudden you go to the deadline and normally everybody leaves, or go to the free agency and normally everybody in history leaves when they say, remember Ryan Suter? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we're talking to Nashville. He was good as gone. He's gone. Stamkos is the only one that I can think of that, and Wes Walls, by the way, but the only one that I can think of that went to the free agency and all of a sudden everybody was just blown away when he re-signed in Tampa. Well, Panarin, who has made it pretty much clear that as much as he loves Columbus, I think that he would like to go to a big city. That's the gist of what everybody believes here. His agent put out that they are not going to talk. So they'll wait till after the year. So now Columbus is in a position where you have this incredible asset that everybody in the league is going to want and has no trade ability. And so, are they going to let him walk for no compensation back in free agency, or do you trade him right now, even if it makes you worse, and try to get a bunch of things? So that's going to be the interesting thing. If that was pretty much your question, right, Johnny? Yeah. So. So I think Bob, there's some bad blood there, and they also got the backup goalie who's a heck of a player and is the future of that team anyway. So I think that Bobrovsky's probably the most likely to be traded, and that Columbus might look at Panarin and say they're kind of, almost do it, justify it to your fans like this is our rental. We're not trading him. He's going to be our free agent rental, and if we lose him, we lose him. But that could have repercussions long term if you let a guy like that walk come free agency.
Yes, sir.
I have more of an idea so much as a question. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the All-Star game and making it more interesting, and we had the skills competition where we had the girls compete.
Yeah.
And actually win it, and then we had the big hashtag pay, and I can't remember.
Yeah, pay for Decker.
Pay Kendall, pay
Decker.
Pay so what about the idea of bringing the gals in on the All-Star game, even on the 3-on-3?
And play as part of it. And play as part of it.
And get I think it opens. In the Olympics.
Yeah, it opens it up to a whole other demographic, which would make it fun as well. I do think that it just needs to. Yeah, great job. I do think that it just needs to.
If you like.
It needs to be changed up. I think what they show is that every single year is that you have to do something to spice it up and make it interesting. And that obviously watching Kendall skate as fast as she did the other night. Added some huge excitement, especially after the fact for those of us that maybe didn't watch it, and reminds you that maybe there's a reason to watch it. But last year it was fun for me because I covered it and I had the whole Brock Besser thing to cover, and we didn't have a Vancouver writer there, so it was awesome for me to kind of shadow him throughout the weekend. And Eric Stahl made it fun as well, and you could do it with be with his family and watch that whole thing. But I still don't, in terms of the actual game, it's just not cool. So to your point, it would be, there are certain things they're going to have to do, I think, to spice it up. Or they just have to accept, hey, people aren't going to watch, it's not that exciting, and it's just going to be a corporate event, and just accept it for what it is.
Bert?
All right. First, I see Christian Fullen starting for the Flyers tonight.
Oh, yeah?
So
I saw him the other night when we were there. 3 weeks ago. When we were
I didn't know Fletcher picked him up, and I don't know how Fenton missed the defenseman on the waiver wire.
No, Fullen has been there all year.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. He just hasn't played a lot.
Who knew? So, and then the other question is not really Wild related, but I was watching the Islanders the other night, and I was really impressed with the job Barry Trotz is doing.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to get your opinion on that.
Well, you lose John Tavares, and Nick Leddy's having a tough year, and really goaltending wise, they're not. You come in with Robin Lehner and Greiss, and you're like, how the heck is this team going to compete? And yet here they are going into the All-Star break, and they're leading their division. It is unbelievable job that he is doing. They're getting great play from guys like Barzal. It's gonna put a lot of pressure on Anders Lee right now to maybe extend his contract here and stay and be the guy. They made him captain for a reason. And where a lot of people thought that Anders Lee was as good as gone when Tavares left, now that might not be the case. Lou Lamoriello has done a great job there, and Trotz is a fabulous coach and has proven it yet again. So,
Explain to me why the NHL suspends a player for turning down the All-Star game.
Well, I think it's because then all of a sudden you might have a bunch of players just saying, hey, you can't go. What I don't like is that you have this loophole where the goalies can always bow out because you have these teams that are starting with back-to-backs, and that was kind of the Dubnyk story I wrote the other day is technically Dubnyk could have done what Carey Price did and said, hey, I know I'm only going to play in Chicago or in Dallas, so I'll just skip the game, rest up, and not even get my quote-unquote suspension. Yeah, so it's kind of like in baseball when your pitcher's suspended 5 games, right. It really is one start.
Exactly. Well, I saw in the NFL Pro Bowl they had like 31 alternates.
Yeah,
people didn't want to play. Is Price not?
So that's why. So that's why. I mean, Carey Price backed out. Ovechkin backed out. They said that Carey's been dealing with an injury all year, so maybe that's factual, maybe it's not. But I think that's the big reason is to make sure that the people that are going go. And what's bad is that then there's a legitimate injury by McKinnon, but he has to go there anyway just to keep himself from getting suspended for an injury that actually is true. And by the way, that happened so late in the game. They wanted like a Zach Parise. Thank goodness the lead didn't just say, Zach Parise, you're the guy. Because then Zach would have bowed out because he went to Disney World with Prosser, and Prosser's family, their families went together, and so at that late juncture, he wasn't going to go change his plans. So.
And it's also depriving the fans. Ovechkin's going to be suspended for a game. Fans can't watch him play in a game that actually means something.
Yeah, but the reality is that if it was a legitimate injury, he'd probably miss the game anyway, and if he's going to just back out because he doesn't want to go, well, that's the punishment for doing it. So so he could have gone, but his owner lets him get away with everything anyway. So remember, his owner was going to be like, yeah, you can go to the Olympics. So
thanks to Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. You can follow him on Twitter at Insure Champlin. That's Insure with an I, and if you know how to spell Champlin, you're from Minnesota. Tony handles my insurance. He handles Michael Russo's insurance. We've been working with him for a long time now. Check him out, Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So I was been thinking lately too with what happened with Peter Chiarelli and Edmonton and what's going on up there north of the border. Why do some teams that like Chicago and Washington get it right with their superstar players? But I mean, obviously with the Wild, I mean the famous phrase is, maybe it's time to rebuild and get really good draft picks, which is obviously good. But it's amazing and why do some teams like Edmonton, Arizona, other teams struggle when they get these elite players?
You still have to build that's the thing about rebuilding is that you're not rebuilding through one player, and that's what Wild fans have to understand is that if you still have a gazillion other warts, just getting Jack Hughes isn't going to turn this team into a superstar. Let me promise you that in 2020, if Kirill Kaprizov comes here and they don't fix other issues that they have here, that Kirill Kaprizov's not going to be the savior that's going to bring a cup down Nicolette Mall here. Edmonton can't get out of its own way. Now, these other teams, I will say, have had multiple things that have happened right. Well, Pittsburgh wins the Crosby lottery, but they also were crappy another year and got Malkin, and then they also were able to get the number one overall pick traded to them from Florida, from Michael Samuelson. I mean, so they were able to draft Fleury. So they got themselves the 2 cornerstone centers and a cornerstone goaltender, and they go out, and the rest is history, win cups starting in 2009. Same thing in Chicago. They multiple poor years. They get Patrick Kane, but then they get Jonathan Toews, and it took years and years and years and years of losing before they finally got it right. Colorado did it a strange way where they would be great, then atrocious on the right year, great, then atrocious, so they just would make the playoffs would be absolutely awful, and they'd get McKinnon and Landeskog and Duchesne and so on and so on. But in between, they were making the playoffs. So there's multiple ways you do it. In terms of Edmonton, they've just made you know, the Yakubov pick was a garbage pick, and there's a perfect example of also you have to be an awful team in the right year. And that year, everybody said that Yakubov was going to be the next Ovechkin. Well, he was an absolute dog, and so they got unlucky there. But then Chiarelli in particular, as you mentioned, has made just awful trades. You know, he trades Taylor Hall, who turns out to be the MVP of the league last year, for Adam Larson. Well, come on. I mean, that is just not a good trade. They go and trade Strome for Spooner, and then put Spooner on waivers, and then I mean, it was just a gazillion things that he's absolutely messed up there. So I think that was a trade. But the reality is that, it was Eberle for Strome, and then he trades Strome for Peru. Yeah. So he's made bad moves, and he took as somebody I saw wrote recently, an idiot-proof team and became an idiot with it. And now he's all of a sudden, he's a guy that's traded Taylor Hall. He's traded Tyler Seguin. He's traded Phil Kessel. He's traded, it's pretty funny. You look at all the studs that he's traded. So
it's amazing that team won the cup in Boston when he was there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know.
So,
that's the one thing that he's going to have going for him for a long time. But man, I don't know if he'll get another GM job. That's for sure.
Yeah, that was
He'll probably be hired by Chuck Fletcher since they're buddies in some capacity. He'll probably next thing we'll see, just like he wanted to do a Shiro here, but the Pittsburgh Penguins wouldn't let him. But he might hire Chiarelli as an advisor there.
And I was when your Q&A with Fenton, that's why it's like cautionary tale to me too, because it's like if you look at trading Granlund, I understand the merits behind that. What do you kind of look for? I mean, do you look for a comparable forward, or I guess, what do you kind of look for if you go down that road?
Well, it's funny. I mean,
Thanks.
I get the impression that he would love to rebuild this thing. I don't think he loves the team. It's like Mary O'Neill tweeted the other day, like, listen to Russo lately has her all upset. But the reality is, I think it's very clear that he does not want to overpay Granlund to keep him. And Granlund's going to command 7.5, 8, 9. Before, by the way, he was going to ask for like 10. I don't know if he still has those type of cojones. But would you pay Mikhail Granlund $8.5 million? If you did, you're in deep trouble. You better he better just magically become a superstar.
What if Mary makes up the difference?
Yeah, that could possibly happen. But I mean, but that doesn't. It's paying him's not the issue. It's then fitting him in the cap. And
right.
Even if Mary had the wherewithal to pay it, it still hurts the team in the long run. So that's the type of thing. I just think it's obvious right now that at some point he's going to look at moving him. And I do hear from talking to GMs that he can be had. I don't know if you'd want to trade him now, because then to me you are probably throwing the season away. But at some point here they're going to have to talk contract with him, whether that is this summer or into next year, and it's absolutely a huge issue right now. These moves that he's made the last week or two, I just don't get. I don't get it. I think he was so excited that somebody was interested in Nino after trying to trade him for 8 months that he bit hard on it, and I think this one. He didn't look at the repercussions of this, and now you're going to be stuck with this dog for 3 years here, and that's just reality. Aberg, I thought his best game the other night was against Colorado, but he's not going to be he will drive Boudreau or the coach nuts the way that he did Randy Carlyle. Watching him in person, just for the 2 games I did, I see why they all of a sudden started. His competition factor and his play away from the puck are not up to par where you could afford to play him every night with a Zach Parise. And the Potato one the other day, everybody is just assuming, because it makes sense, that there's another trade in the offing here. Everything I am told by people around the league is that there's not. I think that he just saw that a player that he liked was suddenly on waivers, and he just made the move. And where maybe in that situation you can't make the moves because you just got to accept, well, I traded for Brad Hunt 2 days before, and now we got too many defensemen. And if all of a sudden they come back with 8D in a couple days, you've now taken the team in for just to add a depth defenseman that doesn't play any special teams in Nashville, by the way. I mean, Potato didn't play PK or power play. I don't get the move. Now all of a sudden, just to add that player, if you don't put Prosser on waivers, or if you don't put Hunt on waivers, or even, I mean, it would make no sense, but even put Potato on waivers, you're now taking the team and you're saying, if you're playing Eric Fair this weekend, that you've got to play JT Brown or Matt Hendricks. Well, I know that fans here are not in love with Joel Eriksson Ek or Luke Kunin right now and think that they should be in the minors to develop, but their fourth line these last couple of games were really good. And Eriksson Ek was great on the penalty kill. And now all of a sudden you're taking Bruce and you're forcing him to change the lineup when you've won 4 of your last 5 and 3 in a row. I mean, I just don't get the move here. And so it just doesn't make sense.
Is that where maybe cap space is almost viewed as an asset in that deal? That the fact, I know it's only $1.5 million, but it's still $1.5 million cap space. Maybe he views that almost as big an asset as getting whatever you can out of Victor Rask. And
well,
we have to see what he does here, but yeah.
But I mean, well, that's why they didn't get a pick back for it. Is that you're right? I mean, I guarantee you the Wild wanted a pick, and then Don Waddell countered with, "Look, we're giving you, your guys are saving a bunch of money with this type of move." And that that is quote unquote an asset. But if Victor Rask is going to make your team worse, it's not a smart decision. And maybe the goal is if he's bad, it'll be a cheap buyout. It'll be a cheap buyout forever. He would be on their cap for 6 years or something. But maybe that's what they're thinking as well, is that it'd be a much cheaper buyout than Nino. But right now that third line, it's amazing that they've won these last 3 games. Because I watched the shifts again the other night, and that Parise, Rask, Aberg line had one good shift in the entire game. One in the entire Colorado game. And yet Parise makes the play that wins them that game. Why? Because he decided not to come off the ice for a very specific reason. And you watch Zach right now, every shift, I can guarantee you this is why. I mean, he is playing minute shifts every game and overlapping his shifts with the next line. And I know Zach, he'll never admit it. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I know why he's doing it, So
that's awesome. Psychoanalyzing Zach Parise here on the show.
So we can get on a line that's going to play with pace and get shifts with different players at even strength.
All of our regulars are eating dinner here, as they usually do during these shows. I want to remind you that Dulono's downtown Minneapolis now has a lunch buffet that includes fried chicken every day. For $12.99 to get the full buffet with fried chicken. They also have 2 happy hour specials every day, 3 to 7 p.m. and 9 to 11 p.m. 7 days a week. That's $3 wells, $3 domestics, $3 house wines, $5 craft and imported beers, and discount appetizers. So check that out.
2 questions.
Yep.
What's the update on the Alex Stalock extension? We all love him.
Yep.
Local guy, plays for the minimum.
Yeah.
Actually handles the puck.
Yep.
Well.
Yeah.
Other than, Dubnyk.
Yep.
So, your feedback there.
It's close. It'll happen here in the next little bit.
I hope we sign him.
Yep.
And then the second was the Greenway story, I think yesterday or today came out. And then the Star and Trib ran a Greenway story a couple days ago or something.
Right.
I know it must be competitive coming up with content sometimes.
Right.
Is it tough to keep some of the ideas that you do for The Athletic away from maybe other competing media organizations, which I won't mention?
Yeah. Well, the 2 stories are very different. Sarah did a personality profile where she went to hang out with at an apartment and things like this. This was more of a hockey story that we've been planning for a while. So it was 2 very different stories, totally coincidental. Sarah, I think, has been working on that story for a long time. And the Greenway one just was something that popped in our head last week because all of a sudden he's getting to these soft spots in the slot where he's roofing these pucks and just, we're watching him. And that's why, for Sarah, it turned out to be a really cool, the timing worked out perfectly where she was writing this anyway. And now all of a sudden, look at him. He's playing his best hockey as well. So it worked out perfectly there. And then from us, we decided to do this because we're watching him play Greenway, and every single night, even the games I was watching on TV from Costa Rica last week, he's finding these soft spots in the slot, and they're finding the puck, and he's just playing so well. So that was one where I just, where Evan, one of our analytics writers, who does really good kind of video breakdowns, and that's why it happened. But yeah, Jim will tell you from a beat writer perspective, especially in today's kind of day and age where we all get the same canned quotes after the game and we're shuttled around the room like livestock. You're just from every huddle to every huddle, and you don't have as good a chance unless it's an off day of getting guys alone. There's it's very hard to get different stories. So with The Athletic, I mean, in particular, it's cool because I have time to work on awesome stuff. So the other night, I was sort of, with Eric Stahl, I wanted to talk to him alone after the game, so I just kind of waited because I wasn't on a crazy deadline. Remember, that game started 8:30 Central Time. So Sarah's running around the locker room with her head cut off because she's got essentially email quotes to the Strib. And I was able, and I had no stress in the world because I'm just sitting there. So when she's running around, I was able to just go wait out Stahl. So that's just kind of the difference between the two outlets right now. And then obviously there's a finite amount of space that she has to fill and things like that. So that last week was totally coincidental, and it was two very different, same subject, but two very different stories. So yeah.
Good question. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go to some Twitter questions. My question for you, though, is what's wrong with McKinnon and what's wrong with the Avalanche? It's like they always have something weird happening.
I mean, they're like the one thing I will say is that you watch that team now, and this is where Anthony was right. They are a one-line team. I thought that Soderberg, Kerfoot, Yost was going to turn them into a deeper team this year. Kerfoot's really had a mediocre year. Soderberg's their only other really good player, and Yost can't even get up to the NHL right now. So they are they're not easy to check because those guys are still superstars. But the other night was a great example of where Mikko Koivu was valuable. They couldn't get away from Mikko, and Mikko drove McKinnon crazy that game. The only time that McKinnon and Rantanen and Landeskog were even noticeable was when they were on the power play or Landeskog was acting like an idiot. Those were the only times you even noticed them. It was just a mediocre game by McKinnon and Rantanen that night. And if they have that, they're dead. And they're, again, when you have a one-line team, you have to go into that game and you throw your big guns at them. So Suter and Spurgeon were outstanding that game, and and the fact that the Wild were able to blow them out that night with Brad Hunt playing his first game in a long time and playing as poor a game as you've ever seen, and Sealer was awesome. But Patterson at times was hit and miss. The fact that they were able to win that game, this is why Jonas Brodin, by the way, is untradeable right now. They cannot afford to trade this guy because right now, they got 3D playing outstanding. And still, we have all seen that Suter goes into ruts where he is struggling, and that's just gonna. And especially during this condensed schedule coming up, if they traded Brodin, you might as well just close up shop for this season because he's going to be absolutely needed this next month and a half to kind of insulate Suter for a bit and protect the guy and have another guy able to make big minutes. But the other night, when you have one line that you could just throw your big guns at and say, all right, if we're going to lose this game, it's got to be, that guy to beat us, the third and fourth liners, then you're going to usually beat Colorado. But if those guys are going to be superstars, you're going to lose. But it's usually, if you're going to lose that game to them, it's going to have to be those three to beat them. And so what you do is you load up your best checkers against them and your best 2D and then say, all right, if we're going to lose this game, it better be Carl Soderberg that's going to beat us. So that's kind of my take on that.
Hello, Vicky. How are you? Do you have something from Phil? Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
it's the Unabomber has sent his manifesto.
It's long, but he told me just to ask part of it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm going to ask my question.
Michael, pay attention.
Are you paying attention?
I was just looking at my car again.
That's okay.
Who's the sucker who's going to go wipe off Michael Russo's car? That's the question. That's the big question here.
When you talk to Fenton, does he understand that most of the fans go tweak, not happening? That we all get that the tweak thing isn't going to work?
Well, I think he gets it, but look, like Chuck Fletcher, he's under instructions on how to build this thing. But the most interesting part of that Q&A the other day is that he said to me that Craig Leopold's on board with whichever direction he decides to take this team. To me, that said it all.
Good.
And you say excellent or good, but let me just tell you, it will be painful if he rips his team apart. It just absolutely will. This team is not close if you rip away their core, and it will. They are not going to be close. It will be a long time before they catch up to every other team, and that's why he's in a very challenging position. You look at these other teams in this division, the amount of bright young stars that they all have coming that we haven't even seen yet. If all of a sudden he tears apart this core, it will be a long rebuild process. It's not going to be quick. So I totally agree that he's got to consider little rebuilds. Like I would trade Granlund if all of a sudden he's going to only sign here for 8.5. But I wouldn't trade everybody. And if all of a sudden you start ripping apart guys like Jonas Bardeen and Jason Zucker and Charlie Coyle even and all these guys together, it will be a long, painful process. And I don't know if he's got it in him to build this team the right way.
Well, it's been kind of long and painful for
a while. I know, but this is a first-year GM that's already, in my eyes, made some really awkward moves.
Yes, he has.
And so I don't know if you want him making these moves. So
we're kind of stuck, though, I think.
I know. I mean, I get it. But if his idea of trading Niederreiter is going to be to get Victor Rask back, and he does that times 5, look out. So that's what I'm just saying.
Well, I'm nervous about it too. But honestly, if we're not going to make it past the first round of the playoffs, I just assume we not make it.
All right, but then you're going to absolutely, as a hockey fan, you're going to that's what I think a lot of people don't also understand, is that we all watch this to be entertained and watch a great product and things like that. And if you are watching crap every single night, it will make your experience awful. So I get while we all are sitting there and have this philosophy like rebuild, this isn't good enough. But let me just tell you, the process to get there will suck. And that's why the owner doesn't want to do it. I mean, it's that simple. We've watched the Wild at home lose 7 of the last 11 games, is it? Has that been fun for you, paying to go watch that?
No.
Right. So that's my point. Times that by, infinity. I'm just saying, trust me, I've covered crappy teams. I covered the 97, 98 the 98, 99 Panthers that had a 15-game winless streak and a 13-game losing streak. And it was ugly, and I'm just telling you, those things are not fun.
Well, after 18 years of watching them, 19 years, whatever.
I get it. Trust me, I get it.
It's been pretty painful.
Yep.
I mean,
but
it's
remember
been fun
the
too.
1,000 podcasts that I used the term "the Wild are making their bed." The Wild are making their bed. When I said that, I meant it like you're in a freaking hotel where you get calf pulls trying to get the freaking covers up. They made their bed to the point that it is going to be very, very difficult to get them out of this. I mean, that's just the reality is that they are still a pretty good team that they cemented their core. They drafted, they decided to commit to them, and now they've put themselves in a position here where there are no easy answers to get themselves out of this. They're right in the middle. And what's frustrating is that when you watch them play in Vegas and Colorado, they're a great hockey team. But yet we all know what's going to happen around the corner. I mean, it just always does with the team. And in the actual playoffs, when you're looking straight ahead right now, I mean, they're in a position where they're in a great position to finish third in the division yet again. Well, what's that reward going to be? Winnipeg or Nashville? And that won't be easy.
So, Michael, you get calf pulls when you pull up the sheets in a hotel room?
Oh, you get.
No, I don't know. Help me with this.
You don't get. We've all gotten spasms in our calf.
So you hurt your finger pulling up your socks, and now
the
you're
calf
getting
pull
calf
is a
pulls.
joke. The calf pull was a joke on last week's hospital visit.
Yeah, I know. I know. So, but with you, I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I didn't know. It was
I can't
a joke.
wait to
I thought you actually hurt your calf in your hotel bed.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear Phil's question. Go for it.
I have to pull it up here.
You have to hit cancel there.
I'm just intrigued that you're telling me how bad the team's going to be.
I'm just telling you.
No. I mean, we've talked about this in Italy, I believe. Isn't that right? I think so.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's easy for fans that aren't stakeholders to sit there and say, rebuild. But it's not a magic thing. As to Ben's point, it is not a magic thing. I mean, you could very well be the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers have had 4 number 1 picks in a 6-year span. What'd that do for them? They got them in the playoffs 2 years ago, which obviously was an aberration. So
yeah, I don't necessarily want to rebuild. I just like to see some results down the line.
Right.
That's all. Okay, you ready? Does his fan base really think that the tweak of simply adding Kaprizov will immediately change this team from I like this, middling bubble team to a legitimate contender?
Well, that's exactly what I said 20 minutes ago. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think we're all looking at him as being this absolute savior because he is an absolute stud in Russia. But for him to just come here and first of all be a rookie right away, but then to him just come here and turn this team, it's just not going to happen. He's going to play 15 minutes a night. 15 minutes a night. You know, it's not going to just turn this thing into a team that's going to go and win a star. They win a cup. They absolutely need that type of skill level, but they need multiple players like that. And so, you know, I do concur. And also remember, he's coming here when Parisi and Suter are going to be 36. Stahl, if he's on an extension, is going to be 37. No, he's Parisi and Suter's age, so he'll be 36. You got 2 more years of maybe of age to the other guys on the team. We don't know who the goalie is going to be, so in 2 years, who knows what this team looks like? So.
Phil feels pretty strongly that it's going to take him 3 years to get up to.
Well, I agree. He's not just going to magically going to be.
Yeah.
The one thing is, I will say to Phil, he's not coming in as an 18-year-old rookie. He's going to be coming in as a 3-year-old rookie, which is, you know, that's the only positive thing you could at least. The theory is the positive thing of him staying in Russia for 2 more years is that he's helping. You know, he's further developing what is going to be a young raw game. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good trip, too.
So I agree with Phil.
Appreciate it.
Finally, we agree.
Couple minutes left in the show. And we got a lot of good Twitter questions, but we always defer to our people who show up and brave the cold to see us face-to-face. So we will continue with the live questions here. Fire away.
So, and it was either the first or second live podcast this year. I asked you how early I should look into buying a new jersey because I bought a Niederreiter jersey at the beginning of this season.
And what did I tell you?
I do believe your exact words were, if the team is bad and he's bad, don't look for him to get traded. Well, half of that was closer, or it was like if he wasn't playing well, he probably wasn't going to get traded.
Well, because I didn't think that
we're going to trade for Victor.
Well, I didn't think that anybody was going to take 5.25, but you got to get a bad contract back. But I would say that if you listen to most things, with this, especially with this team, is that there's always going to be contradictory statements from podcast to podcast. I mean, a month and a half ago we were talking about Granlund being an absolute stud, and look at him. He's got 2 goals in his last almost 30 games now.
But actual question here. So seeing that, Ekin kind of got sent down to Iowa to play during the break, and to your comment earlier, they've been playing better. Everybody's saying, thinking they're not playing great. They get sent down there. They play like the player we want them to be here. They go and they play relatively well down there, and then they come up here and they struggle. When are they going to have that, Greenway revelation almost of, hey, I'm better than everybody down here. How can I translate that? Or
well, Cummin's coming off of me. First of all, they're all different players. Greenway's got a personality where he is. It's like we're seeing it in front of our eyes, where he's starting to realize how good he can be, and you'd love that to be from the other guys. Now, the difference between the other guys is they're both playing on the 4th line. And Greenway's getting significant minutes. He's no longer on the power play because of the trades for Victor Rask and Pontus Aberg, which is another thing that drives me crazy. I just don't understand those moves. I just don't get it. You finally have Greenway and you finally have Cunnin on the power play. You finally have Greenway playing great, and you make 2 moves for inferior players, and you slow again the development now where Greenway's not playing special teams. Makes no sense. Back to your original point. It is up to them. You'd love to see it more from Eriksson Ek because he's been in the league longer. But again, you're playing 4th line, but what I like about especially Eriksson Ek on that 4th line is at least it brings some speed to that line as opposed to having Hendricks or Brown, who's out there doing nothing pretty much, and Fair, who's out there to win draws and be a great penalty killer, but he's not Eriksson Ek from a which some would say is a good thing. That he's not Eriksson Ek from a speed standpoint. But right now, they can't come back up unless somebody's going on waivers. Now, to me, the easy move is to throw Brown or Hendricks on waivers. I'm not positive. They gave Brown a 2-year deal, by the way, on a one-way contract. I'm not sure that they're going to be willing to admit that error and put him on waivers. That'd be the easy move in a couple days. Or the other move to get one of them back up is either there's two ways: is one, wait for an injury, or two, just throw Prosser or Hunt on waivers. They just acquired Hunt, so I don't think he's going to do that. They all, everybody has an ego. And I'll tell you one thing: if they put Prosser on waivers, it will piss off that locker room. So I don't think that there was foresight on this move. I just think he saw a player that he likes. I think he said, I'm just taking him without the reality that it just made their roster 23 men, and he just acquired Hunt the day before.
So then, do you think sending down Eck and Kunin was the way to cover up part of that?
No,
mistake,
well, because he did it the day before, and he didn't know when they sent him down. He didn't know Boteto was going to be on waivers yet. So I think they were sending both down during the break, and then going to probably call up Eriksson Ek and keep Kunin down there. Well, now technically, unless somebody's on waivers in the next 2 or 3 days, they can't bring Eriksson Ek back up if they're going to play Eric Fair in Dallas. Now, one thing that they could do is in second of back-to-backs, Eric Fair hasn't played in a long time. Maybe you make the acquisition. You don't activate him for the Dallas game. You bring up Eriksson Ek for that Dallas game, and then you send Eriksson Ek down and activate Fair for the Chicago game. That's something that you could possibly do, and you could play around with the lineup as well. We'll see in the next couple days. I could tell you that when they took Boteto off waivers the other day, they might change their tack here in the next couple days and realize, especially if Boudreau's the one doing the campaigning, like I would like Eriksson Ek back, they might throw a player on waivers. But when they took Boteto on waivers the other day, I'm pretty sure that Paul Fenn's like, it doesn't matter. We don't need Eriksson Ek or Kunin back. Just play Brown or Hendricks. And I just think that inside the organization, they're like, wait a minute. We've won 4 or 5 games, 3 in a row, in large part because of our fourth line playing better than our third line right now. We can't make that move. So if they do it, I think it's going to be a change in what their original determination was 2 days ago. Let's put it that way. So
good questions. Thank you. This hour flew. Yeah, we do an hour when we do the live show to give people time to eat and have a drink or two and relax. We'll go to Michael for a final thought here. Again, tentatively, the next live shows are February 6th and February 18th at Dulono's Pizza, downtown Minneapolis. Thanks to Twill in the Edina Galleria, Fixologyrepair.com, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Also, if you listen to the network, you probably have heard of Soda Stick, the local apparel company. They do really cool Minnesota-themed sports apparel. Check out their hockey stuff. They have some North Star stuff. They have curling, all kinds of stuff. Check them out as well. And if you'd like to advertise with the program, again, email us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks to Brandon Morton. Michael, give us a final thought.
Well, first of all, again, thanks to everybody for trekking down here in the very cold weather and snowy weather. It's really cool, especially some people that live all the way on the south side of the Twin Cities. Really do appreciate it. Final thought. I don't know really what to say. We haven't talked about Russo slacks today.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Has he gotten you with a good Photoshop?
He did have
lately?
a couple. I don't know about Photoshops, but he had a couple fun ones the other day. I like the one that said that they were closing the Yankee Candle at the
that was good.
At the Southdale Mall. I think he said it was.
Yes.
He said I didn't go in because I'm a man, but sent my wife in, and that was funny. Yeah, hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I don't know. I got nothing. I'm glad so many people are here that are coming to Europe with us. That'd be fun. You'll be happy to know Anthony and I just went with his son to Breckenridge, and Anthony and I didn't get into one fight, but I did absolutely steal his money playing the horse game. Everybody know the horse game? You know the ones, right? The card game with horses. Anthony didn't do well. He didn't do well. So that was fun.
Does his voice crack when he loses?
We'll have to bring that to Europe. Get Vicky in that game. You'll love it. So luckily he didn't call the game while we were playing. That would have been annoying. That's one. I'm trying to think whatever. Excited about the Trampled by Turtles Avett Brothers concert coming up here in September.
Oh, by the way, anybody go see Neil Young the other night? Anybody have tickets for Neil Young? Nope. No, Bert?
Did you?
No. I just sometimes I space these things out. I really wanted to see him. I just didn't go out of my way to do it. And it's too late all of a sudden.
I still remember the first time I watched on a VHS tape, or maybe it was on MTV. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and how awesome that was. I think it was an MTV concert. It was cool. Trampled by Turtles Avett Brothers already sold out September 21st. So I got to figure out a way to get into that one.
I wonder how you'll do that.
Yeah, and I was excited. I was as I said, I was Breckenridge, stopped by Red Rocks, favorite place, pretty cool. Going to that Red Rocks, that trampled show.
Good.
So thanks as always, Dave Simonette, for donating the music.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Trampled by
He's coming to the he's coming to the Wild game this week.
Cool.
Yep.
Tell him I said hello.
Yep, I will.
Sincerely, thank you for making the effort. Thanks for coming down. Thanks for making the network and the show a success. We really do appreciate it. We'll do a studio show next week, and we'll get to a lot of the Twitter questions we didn't get to today, and we'll see you here. Plan on February 6th.
Who's scraping out my car anyway?
Show of hands. Who's scraping out Russo's car? No, they don't like you that much.
All right.
Hey, and everybody, tell you what, usually I ask for everybody to applaud for Michael at the end of the shows. We're going to applaud you guys for all coming down and making the efforts on a very cold night. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.
Pretty little city built on a hillside. Music in the bars and fire in the sky. We went to the beach and it was covered in ice. And I used to call it home. So much coming out, there's nothing going in. I know that you feel like you're never gonna win. Oh, but the world won't forgive a winner.
At Metro, the best deal in wireless is on. Switch to Metro and get one full Amazon Prime membership included every month. Plus, get 2 free phones from top brands like Samsung and LG with huge HD screens. All with 2 lines for just $90. That's the best deal in wireless, only at Metro. Plus sales tax and activation fee. Requires port-in of eligible number not currently active on T-Mobile network or active on Metro in past 90 days. Limit 4 per account or household. Offer subject to change. Offer valid for new Amazon Prime members. Amazon Prime has a $12.99 per month value. Restrictions apply. See store for details and terms and conditions.
How do you keep your family healthy this season when it feels like everyone around you is getting sick? I use Sambicol. It's drug-free and scientifically tested to help support your immunity. Sambicol has the power of black elderberry in every purple bottle. It comes in tablets, syrup, chewables, or my kid's favorite, the great-tasting gummies. So this cold and flu season, support your family's immunity with Sambicol Black Elderberry. It's the only one I trust for my family. And best of all, my kids love it too.